People who, in many instances, have absolutely no clue what they are doing. The Marxists, the anarchists, the looters.
Okay. It's episode 127 of Inane Blather. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. Probably. We're going to blather about a lot of stuff. Danae's back on the show.
Hello.
No. I just don't have a good crowd cheering noise. So that's the only crowd noise I really have. So
That's okay. I'll take it.
Of course. Yeah, she's here just to let everyone know that
Natalie hates non-binary people.
And so that it's not your regular show of just...
What is this? Just a couple guys having a conversation? Who the hell wants to listen to that?
No.
Come on! But anyway, I'm just going to start playing with the soundboard right up front.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So,
all these new listeners should know what they're in for.
Shut up!
Anyway, it's episode 127 of Inane Blather, the show that gathers now a new group of RM Brown listeners, I think.
Head bonked individuals, as we call them.
Yes, a group of
Head bonked individuals.
You are kind of beating me to it here, you know.
I was exposed as doing a giant fraud.
When I was trying to find all of my soundboard.
You know, they say brevity is the soul of wit. You ever heard of that before?
Brevity is the soul of wit, but brings together
I just told that joke the other day.
a hopefully new group into the fold and bestows upon them the multiple titles that you get when you become part of the Inane Blather fandom. Those titles being...
headstrong, stubborn, quibbling, self-centered, vindictive, obnoxious, hormonal, sexually preoccupied, evil, thieving, cross-dressing jerks.
Whether you like it or not. Too bad. You heard it. You are.
You've shown your true colors by listening.
Yep.
And scene.
Yeah. So there you go.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it.
Yeah.
And
wow.
scene.
Yeah.
And scene.
He died and when baboons kidnapped and ate him.
There we go. All right.
I love that
See you
one.
later. Oh, it didn't give me a little
Bye.
thumbs up.
I know, you just look like a dork doing a thumbs up.
There we go.
For too
See you
long.
later. There it is. Okay. Oh, boy. So,
Truly.
I think we had stuff lined up that we wanted to talk about. Probably stuff that we can just bring up. You know, I know that you have the New York Post in front of you, stuff like that, too.
Well, we would like to start by, regaling the audience with our
first things first.
Experience meeting truly our Lord and Savior, R.M. Brown. I took 2 pictures with him. I have a
It's pretty important
sticker.
to know that part.
Yeah, he was really cool. We went to his show, his live show. Danae came and stayed the weekend with Humby and I, and we went to the show Friday night. It was really weird, and
sounds like
funny.
You're pretty into this, buddy.
And I ran into someone that I knew there, and I was like, "What the heck?" He's like
Really?
runs the nonprofit that I do my jazz stuff through.
Awesome.
I was like, wow, like what a niche thing to, whatever. So it was cool. We went to the show, then he's like, oh, we're going to be at this bar after that. So we went to that bar and waited, and everyone's like milling around. Like you can see all these people are like, oh, they were all at the show too. They're at this bar, like looking for him. Like he's a celebrity. And then when he walked in, I'm like, oh my gosh, there he is. And then we couldn't find him. I finally found him. He was like surrounded by people talking to him, and
Sure.
It was really cool. He is such a little freaking cutie pie.
He
actually,
is.
and he's like really like
photogenic too.
He looks.
Good Lord.
He looks like
Maroon.
if he wants to be. Then you watch him on his show, and he just looks like R.M. Brown. And but anyways, it was really fun, and we went, and I went to go get like kind of like an autograph or sign this thing, and I introduced him to Humby and Danae. I was like, oh yeah, you have like some new fans too. Danae made this trek all the way across the mountains to see you. And what did you say, Danae?
And I didn't even know who you were. RM, I'm so sorry. I had too many beers by that point in the night.
It's immediate death penalty.
I don't.
But he did say still that he wanted to be on the show. He said, "Bring me on the show."
You introduced him
sometime.
to
inane blather.
So good.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh no, I know." Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, Nane Blather
was awesome.
is a beautiful producer of the RM Brown program. It's
Without the producers,
we're going straight, to hell. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and that kind of going straight to hell. That's what we're going to talk about today, actually, because we do have our religious correspondent here. Danae,
seems pretty satanic.
Exactly, and we have some. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jesus today, but actually. We kind of are, because I think it's very interesting. Like, I've been talking about Jesus a lot lately as a person.
It's really annoying.
And
a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, have you heard of this guy? Like, I don't know. He's
revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's the son of God, so I'm into that.
God.
But yeah, what is that?
You're not joking about
browsers?
That bright screen,
like,
Natalie.
It's bright too to me, not just on my face, but like in my eyeballs.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
So
I'm feeling for you. That's why. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
But
that was a painful. Good thing I got these blue light glasses, otherwise I'd be dead.
Exactly. I'd be blind at the end of the day.
But so I actually did want to talk about, like, that's one of the things. I don't know how your weekend was, Doug, whatever. But
it doesn't matter.
Mine was awesome. Yeah. It was with Danae and Humby.
I didn't do anything. I hung out with my kid. That was nice. So there we go.
Nice.
That sounds nice.
That's nice. Anyway, no.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Nothing like a good New York slice.
There we go. So
we did say that a few times over the weekend. But so I'm sure people have heard it going around, the inauguration. Ever heard of it?
For who?
But the
That's my new version of a rim shot. I'm like, oh yeah, ever heard of it? I'm gonna carry it around with me too.
Yeah.
They're like, oh God, what was that?
Oh, I'm crying.
Okay, inauguration.
So,
which was the title of the last Inane Blather episode? It's the first for the first time. I was just like, nothing cutesy. Let's just.
It was a bad one. Yeah.
It wasn't a bad one.
Day.
It was a good episode.
A bad day. But so we heard of that before this inauguration. Something that came after.
We've heard of that before.
Was there's like this, whatever the process is, they go to the church or whatever, they get some, like all this kind of stuff that goes on with the president. Joe Biden probably like really went to church, but he's like there taking this service. And it kind of was in the news about this bishop, like part of it like spoke pretty much directly to the president. And I watched it, and I was moved. It was like very kind. And the right wing reaction has been very interesting. So that's what I kind of wanted to, with our religious expert here. I'll read what she said.
Our staff
and just imagine,
theologian.
Yeah. Just imagine this is in a Catholic church or whatever. I guess she's a bishop, right? That's Catholic or whatever. So like these robes, all these flowers. Well, then I don't know. Whatever she is, it's beautiful. She has like short gray hair and like a really kind voice, like someone that, like this woman in her 60s or whatever she is, or 50s or whatever, that you would like trust, like a real, like, she just seems, and the words she's saying and her tone, like a Christian, like a really the best way. When we're talking about Jesus being cool and kind, it's just like, wow, this person seems really nice. So imagine that's the context. And this is what she said. In the name of our God, I ask that you have mercy upon the people in our country. We're scared now. The people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, gurdwara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you will help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
Oh,
and there's a little bit more.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that direct. Wow.
It's very direct. And I wish it had the rest of this line, because it was like, for the mercy of God. And it's like, for we were all strangers, you know, in this land once. It was like really.
Yeah, that's like a
it was
line
really
from the
moving,
Bible,
and
right?
Yeah, like she's like, this is like biblical. This is like
Bible
what you're
lines.
supposed to do. It was moving, and the right-wing reaction, literally a United States Republican, like, member of the House of Representatives said this bishop needs to be added to the deportation list.
Yeah, they're just like,
suck me from the back.
Up,
yeah, exactly.
like, they are saying it's disgusting. Trump went on this Truth Social rant about this bishop being boring, being like, I should now, if I can find that. The reaction to it has been...
I saw the reactions. I didn't know what the actual thing was. I just knew that... I showed you arguing with like some deacon on Twitter that when I was like, this guy's a deacon? Like, he's arguing that we're not supposed to have empathy, or that Jesus didn't teach empathy or something like that. It was ridiculous. But so I'm automatically not on their side anyway. But their reactions was saying like, I can't believe that this person was like being an activist instead of a bishop or something like that. Which, I mean, to be honest, I'm like, okay, I get it.
No.
But it's like,
no.
But she did not say anything wrong, because what she's saying is being an activist, quote unquote, in the same way that, Jesus of Nazareth was quite a radical activist. That's why they, put him to death. It's like, that's why he was like, murdered by the state, right? I mean, I think that's how the story went, as far as I know.
It's not politics to want to show compassion. Like, they're saying that a core
it's a
tenet,
Christian message.
the central... Yes, it's like, this is what I would say to people. This is like what happens in church, is like, these are like your guiding sort of principles about how to like approach your life. And politics doesn't get like a monopoly on like immigration or like, I mean, like human rights, that comes from, that is what churches, it's like, is it political for them to have a food bank? Is that like them making a statement about like food insecurity and the legislative like blah, blah, blah? Is that wrong for them to do? Or do they just like literally have to read the Bible front to back and like not have any commentary, not get any fucking message from it? Why is it even a religion if there's not a message in it and like a way to live your life?
Yeah.
And
should they
like,
do any works?
The motherfucking party of Jesus. It has just been so like, satire is dead sort of crazy thing for me to just see like these guys that are like, God's not in schools and blah, 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 and all this kind of bullshit Sean Hannity's, and then be like, this is disgusting, because she said there's more of it that's like, have mercy on the people in our country who are scared now, and talking about the gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families in independent states. It's like, is that wrong to point out these marginalized like people? Is that political because you said gay, or is it just true that there are gay people who are scared now? Like,
yeah,
why do you get to be? She didn't say. She just isn't telling her congregation, don't vote for Trump, vote Democrat. She's like literally giving this message about, you have so much power in your hands. I hope you show mercy like God shows mercy. Like I'm speaking what I think God is trying to say. And he's saying have mercy. And these are the people you need to have mercy on. You know how I know that? Because you kept shitting on them for like the last fucking year and a half of your campaign or whatever. It's like, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm supposed to be like, bringing this message, helping God's message get out here. Like, what else are you in church for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm
just reading some comments about this exact thing. It's crazy. This is total bullshit. Holding the Trump family hostage to this woke nonsense, knowing they're on the national stage. The whole family should have just walked out. Yeah, you know what? To be honest, they should have. They should have, because they do disagree with that stuff about compassion and mercy. And
God would have smited them.
Underserved people. But
it's just a pillar of fire coming down from the heavens.
But I think it's funny, the entire idea, like what these discussions about, compassion, no matter what, for people, whether you consider them criminals or not, which is a stupid discussion in my opinion, but whether you do or not, the compassion or empathy for what they're going through is somehow like an argument for these people. Like, have you noticed that at all, Danae? Like, because that's why, I mean, I'm sure, like, we wanted to ask you because you actually talk to people that are church going every once in a while, right?
Yeah, like, every once in a while.
And I just don't.
We're like, very in the church.
Yeah. It's like, I've been around a church often, or church going people, but they're pretty laid back with it. But, and yeah, I get to be at one of those churches that'll have the little sign in here, like, everyone's welcome, including blah, 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 transgender and immigrants. Whether they do it or not, who knows, but still.
Yeah.
But it's like that whole idea of empathy is what it really boils down to. Should be a core tenet of it. But it seems to be arguable to a lot of people.
Yeah. Hard to say. No, I mean, like, the thing that's so, like, hairy, I guess, when it comes to, if we're talking about Christianity specifically, is there's just a lot of room for interpretation. And it varies based on, like, what denomination that you consider yourself a part of, right? So, like, a lot of what Natalie is saying, yeah, you're probably going to get that from, like, Episcopalians, like this bishop comes from, right? And they typically end up leaning more left on the progressive schedule, like, of, like, whatever political spectrum you want to call that, right? I will say that I think that there's this sense of, like, othering that happens a lot with, like, Christian nationalism and, like, evangelical circles where it basically, it seems like they don't really treat people that are different from them like people. And that's why you're getting this whole, like, well, that's just woke and da-da-da. It's like, I think you're actually just forgetting that there's humanity there a lot of the time.
Right.
So, but, like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I have empathy for people that don't break the law. It's like, for like these groups that I care about, it's like, that's not how it works.
Exactly. It's like, I have compassion as long as, like, I know them and, like, they're cool people, like, they go to my church or whatever.
Yeah, as long as they're my family.
Like, but, like, other people, like, if they're brown people on the other side of, the country or the world, like, they're not even real,
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely part of that's, like, the identity politics that we've, like, seen come up in the last 20 years now, and then also just, like, a continuation of, like, that white supremacy, Christian nationalism, just, like, very blatant propaganda that's happening today. And I'm again just not really that surprised.
That is kind of funny. So. I didn't even consider that fact. The whole fact that this was done Episcopalian church and stuff, like, it didn't even cross my mind. Like, why was this chosen? Why isn't Trump, like, in a Baptist church or, like, in, like, some Joel Osteen style, like, just regular evangelical, like, money-making church type thing, like some, like, kind of fuzzy around the edges, you don't even know what denomination they are, kind of thing. Like, why are they an Episcopalian? Like, that's really kind of is that a statement or is he just dumb and he
I don't
doesn't know? He's like, that sounds
He doesn't know
right.
about church.
Yeah.
that could be the case. I am really curious about how that was chosen as well. I'm like, is that just like historically the church that's used or something? Like, has that been used for past inaugurations?
But
because
it depends. But Joe Biden's Catholic, but I feel like a lot of them are not Catholic.
Yeah.
So
that would be Biden and Kennedy, like the only ones, right?
I don't know where Barack Obama went, but they all go to church, and I know that's one. I think
a mosque.
A lot of
very.
Oh, right, yeah,
yeah,
nice.
No, I feel like I want to say Clinton was also Catholic,
Methodist.
But, no.
Oh, was he?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. He's from down south.
But like, I mean, regardless, I think it is really interesting that it wasn't a church that's like more affiliated with like, say, like the Heritage Foundation, because they have such deep pockets into the Trump administration and like getting him elected in the first place. And like there's some like very old money, like white evangelical power there. So I just would have seen that going a lot differently if they had done that. It would have just been
I
God
wonder.
Just, like,
let's see here.
Presidency,
okay.
blah, blah, blah.
This is 8 days ago. The leaders of St. John's Lafayette Square, an Episcopal church in Washington, D.C. Trump attends, quote, nonpartisan service at church he once used for photo op. The leaders of St. John's
like the upside
Lafayette
down Bible?
Square. I'm wondering.
Because it's like big old stone. Like it's like a big. That's what like cathedral type of situation. I think.
Let's see. Beginning in 1933 with a private service attended by FDR before his inauguration, the historic church has hosted 14 morning prayer services to honor incoming presidents, including today's service honoring Trump and J.D. Vance. It was the first event on the Inauguration Day calendar. Let's see here. The service is meant to be centered on God and humility before the Almighty and to be a call to, quote, the better angels of our nature for those who are entering into a new season of service, Fisher wrote. It is less oriented to the personality of the individual about to become president and more oriented to the higher responsibilities of the office. That is one major way that is more in line with the origins of this tradition as opposed to more recent services. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so this attempt to return to tradition follows Trump's previous prayer service in 2017. Former President Joe Biden, of course, attended a Catholic service. Yeah.
So this prayer is supposed to be a call to our higher nature and like to like really understand like the profundity of what you're about to take on, because you're going to be like the most powerful person in the world, and it's like supposed to be like a grounding sort of thing to remind you of like the tenets of your life, like the core tenets of your being, like in this moral universe, like who you are. You're a good person. You're about to lead millions of people. You know, like this is like what a huge deal this would be for someone who could think like that. Because like Trump on the he said she brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. That's what he got out of that's what he got out of that, when it's like this is a call for us to be our best selves. Like with great power comes great responsibility, you know.
He calls her so-called bishop.
And you're still, you know, you're not God, you know, like to humble you a little bit, to be like, understand, you know, the gravity of all of this. And this is the motherfucker that we have in charge after something like that. Ugh. That's what they're like. So, you know what I think, though? What I just think is like these Christians, I'm like, I know you better than you know you, because you wouldn't be a Christian. These values wouldn't speak to you if you weren't a good person. Yeah. Like what Jesus has going on, you are woke, motherfucker. Sorry to break it to you that you can't go left and you want to stick to this conservative bullshit because of I don't know what you got going on. But your ideas, what you want to believe in, those ideals that come from Jesus, like from God himself, like the moral universe, they're woke. And I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you, babes.
Maybe not God.
Like that's Hey, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit, Trinity, whatever. Same goddamn difference. I mean, like, in their belief, that is what it is. That's what he's trying to teach you, guys, is like some moral lessons here. And you believe him, you stupid sons of bitches. You're actually woke. Just get over it.
Yeah.
Just get with the times, because I know you're not a bad person, you stupid Trump-supporting piece of shit. You know?
Well,
You're not bad.
They're so upset about all the queers taking the rainbow away when it's supposed to be a symbol from
reminder.
God. It's like, you're almost getting it. No. It's the same thing, all right? Okay? See? It's all part of the same thing. It's God's queer woke agenda, all right? So I just...
Jesus is gay.
the next sentence in here...
Planet is gay?
So this is all coming together, right? This whole church, this Episcopal church. Yes, the church was that photo op. Yes, was the upside down Bible where they dispersed protesters with tear gas. It's the same one. And also, so of course, his first inauguration, 2017. So you talk about how this one is so upset. People are upset that it was, too, like, specific. It was activist. It was woke and stuff like that. Okay. Trump's previous prayer service in 2017. That year, conservative pastor Robert Jeffress took the St. John's pulpit to tell President Donald Trump that he was like the biblical prophet Nehemiah, chosen by God to build a wall. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, and see, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's what they would have chosen
Yeah.
if they were making a choice again. Like, that's exactly the type of thing. That's so
And they've
on
done that
brand,
once.
right? They did it once, and
Wow.
I'm again curious how we ended up with what's her name? Bishop. I missed it. Sorry,
Buddy.
but Bishop Buddy.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a great
BUDDE.
name.
see, here's the thing.
Mhm.
So they did that, right? He got to use them for this, frankly, heretical, political grandstanding, using him, comparing him to Nehemiah, called upon by God to build a wall in 2017.
not-
And then in
It's not
2020,
heretical as long as you're not comparing him to Jesus.
okay,
right?
yeah. Well, just inserting
It's
him
just-
into the
I was gonna
Bible.
say
Calling him a
blasphemous, but-
prophet is one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So it's
Thank you for the
I guess
distinction.
he maybe he is a prophet like, but
Yeah,
the prophecy
like
did
end
not come
times.
true as far as
The
I can tell.
Antichrist,
Yeah. But
Four horsemen of the apocalypse.
yeah. Yeah,
Elon,
maybe.
Mark,
It was just the wrong
Trump.
prophecy.
Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Elon, Mark, Donald, and Jeff. These are the guys who are going to ruin. At least Elon has like a cool name. Jeff and Mark. Donald.
Oh no.
God.
Oh boy, my
Damn.
oh my gosh. This darn garage band. Okay. It's going. Sorry. That'll be on the video. Anyway.
Anyway.
So it's like, so they already had that one in 2017, and then he uses them for this photo op, and it's it's controversial. He tear gases protesters so he could stand in front of this church with a Bible that he's obviously never cracked open. And let's see.
Obviously. A Bible
my
upside down.
There are indeed.
Yeah,
This is the guy here that they've interviewed. I mean, Fisher is the reverend here, the rector of the church. There are indeed also some parishioners who attended the service held 8 years ago at St. John's on the day of Trump's first inauguration, who expressed to me what a bad experience it was, Fisher wrote. Some felt that the church was used. And those individuals, seeing the current approach we are taking, have expressed gratitude for the changes being made to the nature of the service, and are glad we have agreed to host this time because we will do it in a different way. So that's, I don't know, it's kind of funny to say, we're not going to do it that way. because we didn't like how it turned out before.
Because it was gross.
And look at how it turned out this time.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I almost wonder if like they were like, hey, if you want to do this again, like we're gonna like choose who's speaking.
Yeah. And
basically.
he said specifically, in offering this time of prayer, we come humbly before God to pray for our country, her leaders, and her people. The service will be about upholding our values, especially Jesus' commandment to love one another without reservation, he wrote in the newsletter. He said ahead of time it's going to be way different because we didn't like how we were used this first time around when Trump used our church in his first inauguration. So this is what it's going to be about. And we're all those people are a lot happier this time. And then to use that topic,
the Christians are a lot happier with the message. And
we're just going to go with
the Republicans.
We're not going to do this Nehemiah, Old Testament kind of stuff to kind of shoehorn Trump's agenda into the national prayer service in the morning, morning of Inauguration Day. We're going to just go with some straightforward, Jesus's teachings of loving everyone,
mercy,
regardless. And then it just blows up. They're like, what? What is this woke bullshit?
I bet, what's this woke bullshit when she's like, have mercy, which is like something that word I associate like with Christianity.
Yeah.
I think, Yeah, of course. I think what you're forgetting is that she said have mercy on people that they hate.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Like, but we don't like those people.
Which, is again something that Jesus talked about, but a lot of the times I just feel like the people that are most upset don't actually know who Jesus was.
Yeah.
So
they see that name and they're like, "Hey, Jesus, get him out of here."
Yeah. Get that Mexican out of here.
Where's your papers? Yeah.
Some Mexican with long hair? I don't think so.
Well,
not in my neighborhood.
To give these Christians an out, I say, economics over everything. I feel like this has really shown the power of capitalism over like your moral doctrine that you live by, like what it means, why the cost of eggs and why the economy and all these kinds of things are more important than why it can win you over to something like that. Like our material struggles, can. Hey, I guess this is all moral relativity because all these people are too fucking stupid to realize like how bad it would be for them for all these. Morally, obviously, I think, but also economically, for all these people to be deported.
If he just deports 15 million people,
yeah,
in the first
as
6 months.
LA is trying to like rebuild like thousands and thousands and thousands of homes, you're going to get rid of like all your like construction workers.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, bringing back good jobs. And I'm not saying anything about what people should become, and I'm like open board or whatever. But it just is so. God, they're just so stupid. Like
it's already hard
Roberto
enough to
just
get
saying,
eggs in the first place.
Trump is such a special brand of stupid, like an ignorant, like where he's like talking about where he went to go visit LA and he's talking about the trees don't burn because they're soaking wet. They're filled with water. They're just soaking wet. These houses, they just burn down like nothing. But these trees, they get a little bit, they change color at the bottom. They get kind of burnt at the bottom, but they're just full of water. They soak up all the water. So they're just soaking wet so they don't burn down. They're actually going to be fine after. It's like, yeah, that's great. If you were watching a wildlife documentary or whatever, that'd be interesting. What are you talking about? A disaster? Like literally, there's like 15,000 like buildings that have been families, communities, entire neighborhoods have burned to the ground, and you're talking about a fact that you learned about trees.
It's like, are you
needing a lot of water?
around?
Are you being impacted at all? No. Like so incredibly. Oh my God. Yeah, I just.
Whenever he learns something new, it's always so funny.
Even.
He can't stop talking about
so
it.
funny.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, to me, at least it shows his age. Like, that's a good sign. It sounds like he's declining quickly.
Yeah, it's gonna happen so fast.
He just like doesn't give a shit about. He's just like, I just learned this thing. Isn't that interesting?
It sounds like my grandpa. Basically, that's what I'm hearing. It's like, okay, grandpa.
Well, he's gonna sound like Joe Biden pretty soon. It's not good.
Like, I'm not kidding around. I feel like. Okay, so all of this stuff about just the absolute like lack of I don't know. I guess it's like empathy, which I just associate with like morals, because that's the reason why morals exist, is because we care about injustice and justice, and we can't care about that without like empathy. Like, it's like not possible for us to have like these systems. It wouldn't make any sense if we didn't care about how people were affected.
You can't apply it to other people.
Yeah, it exists within more than one person, and like it's just really interesting to see how incredibly, morally bankrupt isn't even they're just like lacking in this thing, like conservatives. And I saw in this New York Post comment, and I was like, this perfectly sums up these people. Like, so whatever you want to say, Selena Gomez, she was crying, on Instagram saying my people are getting like ICE raids and stuff like that. Whatever, maybe the left is like, you're so out of touch or whatever. But I feel like I've cried about it. It's sad. It's horrifying. It's so disturbing, and seeing like that little girl crying, I'm like, damn, this is like, it's disgusting. Yeah. And so whatever I want to say about that, I don't doubt that people can be moved regardless of how privileged they are. I think that's a good thing to show rich people caring too a little bit. I hope that they can remain, kind of have something. Yeah. And that's like, she actually did it too.
You can argue about recording yourself crying. That's a different conversation.
Whatever. Yeah, it's
but
like,
these
but people
like saying moved. Like, what, you're in your big house and you're crying about him?
So this comment is like, okay. And he has the perfect username. It's the alarm signs. And it says trigger warning. So he's just like a total like alarm sign, trigger warning, alarm sign. So there are two types of people who vote Democrat. Those that rely on handouts to live, and those that are so wealthy they can afford to virtue signal politically. There is only one type of person who votes Republican. Those who want an unfettered chance at personal/private success without having to pay for the failings of others. And it's like, yeah, you suck. You're the worst type of motherfucking person. You're a selfish, like totally self-centered. You do not care about anybody else. And in every media I've ever seen, you're the baddie.
Yeah.
You're the bad guy. You're not someone to look up to. You're selfish. You're Scrooge.
You're an unfeeling monster. Like, you're just a bad person.
You want personal, private success, and you think that everyone else is just fucking up and not deserving of anything. So I thought that was just
a bunch of
psychotic, deranged, cultist liars.
And on top of that,
absolutely,
they're not very nice.
And they're not nice. They're mean. Just rub it in too.
It's just back to a lack of empathy.
Yeah, and I would say that's also a tenet of just like the absolute brain rot that has come of like the American dream capitalistic machine of like, well, you just got to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and eventually you'll be Bezos yourself. And like,
yeah.
It's just so far away from like actual reality. And like, it's also like, it's a little bit sad too, because these are the people that we're talking about when we talk about the male loneliness epidemic, because it removes you from any sense of community, any sense of like neighborliness, of taking care of anyone that's outside of your immediate family. It's just, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. And it's like, bro, like tell me that you only like read or pay attention to propaganda without telling me.
Yeah.
Like that's literally all that
so many
is
people
to me.
do. Well, John Steinbeck once said, socialism never took root in America because the poor see themselves not as an exploited proletariat, but as temporarily embarrassed millionaires. That's what it is. But, absolutely. I mean, I just had someone today talking about, just today on Twitter, well, I was near homelessness and I had all this trouble and I worked hard and I worked 3 jobs and I made it and there wasn't any rich millionaire CEOs that made it tough for me. And I was like, dude, they are exactly the people that made it tough for you. They are the people that make it tough for everyone. Well, not me personally. Yes. You personally.
Absolutely.
Literally why you were fucking
Always.
homeless.
I was like,
Idiot.
what are you talking about? How do you not like extend this out to everyone else? It's not bad. It's not selfish of you to say like it's not like making excuses to say this is at least part of the problem. These were obstacles that I overcame.
By a system.
Yeah,
that's
we live in a
literally-
society.
We live in a society.
Yes. Like, look at the obstacles that you overcame so valiantly, sir. And how did those obstacles get there? Part of it was those people. Was those people that perpetuate this system that was pitted against you, man. It's like that you got over and you don't care about making it easier for other people because you don't feel for them.
And like, what did you learn from this experience? I mean, like, that you're just like better than other people, or that if you could have been given a chance earlier, or if you could have had it'd be like, yeah, I could have gotten a job earlier if I could have a place to shower, or all those kinds of things that you wish you wanted.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice if people could have those so they wouldn't have to be fucking homeless?
Yeah. It's like, or or if you had like an easier start in the first place from, generational wealth or something like that. If you had an easier start because your parents had a better time, because the number one indicator of where you're going to end up is the zip code into which you're born in the first place. It doesn't matter how hard you're working. You are an exception, man. It's like because of how hard you worked, because there's other people that are working as hard as you did or harder. Doesn't matter how hard you worked, man. There are people who are working harder than you that aren't going to make it. They're not going to make it out of poverty.
I mean, there's also people that aren't able to even get that second or third job.
Yeah.
Whether it's like from physical ability or literally just circumstance.
Hours in the
and there
day?
are people that are
in the day,
half
having clean clothes, being able to show up to work not smelling like shit. Like, there's so many things
and
that have to be lined up.
There are people that are way dumber and work way less hard and
they make way more fucking money.
shit, and they own Twitter and run the government and are the richest people on earth. They don't do shit. I mean, it's Elon Musk.
And
but yeah, no, there are people that don't work at all, that have everything given to them. Like, how do you think that's okay?
And you know what? What I tell people, and what I kind of got through to Kelsey one night, I was really on one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you think that Elon Musk works 200 billion times harder than your parents?
Yeah.
Who have owned this place. They work 6-7 days a week. They work 12 hours a day. They're Kelsey's dad, pillar of the community.
Mm-hmm.
They're incredibly involved. And they're taking in kids who get kicked out of their house. They're doing this and that. They're doing all these things. You think that he really deserves what he has and your parents deserve what they have? Do you think that it's like, that's how it works?
Yeah.
They just didn't work hard enough? Is that the problem? Because they work pretty fucking hard.
Yeah.
And it's like the disparity. It's like, fine, there can be rich people, but do they have to be so astronomically way more? Are they really, is their work that much more valuable? I don't know about that. I would say no, probably. Also, another comment from probably someone who goes to church. Never heard of Selena Gomez, but her crying makes me happy.
Oh my God.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, someone who definitely did go to church, it's all right to tell a man to lift himself by his own bootstraps, but it is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Of course,
Who said that? Donald Trump?
Yeah, Donald Trump Luther King Jr. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a man who actually
put those names in the same sentence.
I know. Yeah, that was
not
horrible.
even.
But yeah, no, of course, Martin
like...
Luther King Jr. had even said that. It's like, I mean, because people have been saying that stupid shit for so long, like, people just don't work hard enough. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, which is already, I mean, in the same way that like people, it's already so far gone that people don't realize that meritocracy is like
doesn't exist.
Like, not only it doesn't exist, the word was invented as like a satirical word. Like it's supposed to be like an example of something that doesn't exist. Like it's purposefully like it's like a joke. Like meritocracy is something that doesn't exist. Like, and to say that we're like striving for that, let alone that like capitalist America is one, is ridiculous on its face.
Every time meritocracy gets brought up, because it keeps getting brought up with the Trump administration, is Pete Hegseth. I'm like, how can you possibly say this with a straight face? You were like in the army once, and now you're like Pete leading Hegseth. The Pentagon. Like, you said meritocracy? Is that what you said? You said people are going to get things by merit, by working hard and showing that they know the stuff.
Right. And then you just see like Don Jr. and Eric standing up there, you know, and Pete Hegseth throwing hatchets at people, you know.
Oh my God. I like when you're saying that, I literally just kept thinking about the fact that like back when I was, you know, like high school, college or whatever, and like working food service and making minimum wage, I worked so much harder than I have ever worked doing like a tech job from my bedroom on my little computer, taking naps in the middle of the day when I needed them.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and like making triple, 5 times, whatever, however much money more than I ever made working at a fucking Pizza Hut.
Oh, yeah.
So like, it's just...
And dealing with horrible people too. Like the mental
dealing with horrible
toll.
People.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Emotional
labor.
Like there's also like the physical aspect of it as well. Like
standing for 8 hours.
It's so crazy. And like if you're not moving constantly, it's like if you have time to lean, you have time to clean, right? And it's just, I don't know, it's just really sad that we just buy into that so much, just in general.
And there's probably wage theft happening at least somehow, somewhere, constantly. Picking away at your shit here and there, you're missing breaks at least somewhere, you're having to get somewhere early or work somewhere late just to make your life manageable at your piece of shit job. And it's like,
and then you make it like 10 times worse if you're undocumented, because you can't like go to anyone to say, hey,
stolen from.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, not to like say some stuff that hasn't already been said about capitalism, about like being a slave, but it seems like, you know, people that own slaves kept them alive. You know, like
they bad.
They made sure they had food
monetarily
to eat, like
beneficial to do that, for sure.
Yeah, like that's how it works. They don't directly feed you from their farms anymore. They or have like a staff. They like pay you just enough money to like go to the store, barely, because you need to keep going to work, obviously. You know, so you just get by.
It's like Henry Ford.
The people,
like where he
the people
gave people time off so that they could, and just enough money so that they could have time to go buy a Ford automobile. They have the time and money to buy a Ford car. Otherwise, you need to have a customer base.
Yeah, I think about when I think, like what Danae's saying, Pizza Hut, I think about going to the Safeway that's close to here. It's kind of can get pretty iffy at night. Like they have, you know, of course, security and all of that. And it can be, you know, stuff in the parking lot going on, people yelling, people, you know, cops getting called and stuff like that. And I went there once and they had to be like opening the door one person at a time, because there was a guy that it was a little bit like, and he's standing right in front of the opening, like automatic doors, just yelling at people and, you know, just like, and being like
having
aggressive. And so like letting people in one by one, having to deal with this shit. And I'm thinking of this Safeway CEO motherfucker, whoever it is now, like all these people sitting cushy. Exactly. No offense to Nay, but what you did is in tech, yeah, again, not hard. Like some of this other shit that you have to deal with, like someone having a violent mental breakdown 5 feet from you, and you're kind of responsible for people's safety as they walk in and out of the grocery store, and them getting paid whatever, 22. I mean, some of the security, maybe you make like $25 an hour or whatever. Like, and you guys are making, you said millions? You said millions, right? That's what you said. You're making thousands of dollars an hour. Is that what you said? That seems like what you guys are doing is way better.
Like,
when I went into that Safeway, there's like
that much
produce spilled all over the place. I bet that guy was in there making like a huge fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what you guys do is way more important. Taking away DEI from your website because you're a little fucking pussy. And because you don't care about people, unlike Costco, standing their ground. 98% of their board voted to keep their DEI. They were like, shut up. We're like keeping our commitment to it. What do we fucking care? We're the second largest, retailer in America.
I think they are going up against the Costco union or something like that pretty soon. So we'll see how that turns out. But at least they're still the best. Have the best.
They have a union.
Treatment. Yeah,
by far. I would say,
big time. But it's like there's no reasoning your way out of that. It's purely just. I mean, capitalism at its core is just. I mean, making money by owning money doesn't make sense. That's the way that it goes.
Doesn't make you smart, I'll tell you that much. It doesn't make you smart. It doesn't mean you're smart because you have a bunch of money. It means that you have a bunch of money.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Yeah. And they have like all of us fucking working class people simping for them. It's so embarrassing. Like
the
our
propaganda
class traitors over here.
The worst. That's the worst part. Is getting people to unlearn this sort of thing. The fact that people love Elon Musk or love these big corporations or think they need to do their part to, to assault shoplifters on their way out of Walmart or something like that, all of these different little things, or just that really believe the lies that have already been debunked. If you just take like an Econ 101 course or something like that, that really keep the owner class comfortable and keep the working class from asking for anything better, that keeps all of the class solidarity intact at the top and not at the bottom, is really frustrating. It's really tough. I mean, something needs to happen in the United States. It's really tough.
Well, and I would say that that's actually a part of like what we were originally talking about too, right? So like the lack of empathy is, I think, a tool that's been created by the upper class to keep us fighting amongst ourselves rather than taking care of each other.
It's an inevitable product of capitalism. I don't think those people are like born bad, and I don't think it's malicious because I don't think they can think like that. I don't think it's possible for them to like be like, well, if we do, they're not like scheming. They're just profit seeking. Yeah. And it ends up with the same thing. And it is inherent in the system of capitalism. You know what? I'm going to say it. I think Karl Marx was onto something. You ever heard of that guy?
Oh, how I wish I could believe or understand that.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, though.
It's kind of loud. Whoops. But, you know what? I just need to throw this in here somewhere. I was going to say it at the beginning. Shout out to Hibby Jibby. And thank you for commenting on Spotify. Yes, Seth Meyers is a good one for, quote, lib, guilty pleasure type watchable stuff, etc. In my opinion, for sure, big time, especially because he leans more left more and more by the day. I feel like
totally. He's like, I mean, he's lib whatever, but he's like saying He's not being all like
a lot
"Oh,
further
Luigi
over than he
Mangione
ever
was
used
like
to
a-"
be. It seems like
I think he's like really.
I like him a lot.
straightforward with it,
But also, speaking of that, why the fuck doesn't Spotify let me know when someone comments? What the hell? Because that was like a month ago. So
Nice.
shout out to Hippie Jimmy, who has commented a couple times because there's comments on Spotify, and then I was like, oh, what? Oh, someone commented. That was a long time ago. But
I don't think anyone's ever accused Spotify of having a good user interface. And if they
Yeah.
have, they're wrong because I've used it and I hate it. There's some things that it does where I'm like, man, I hate this app so
Also-
much. It makes me like furious to use it. But
also
maybe I'm
Spotify
just stupid.
donated a bunch of stuff to like Trump's inauguration, and I was like, I told you YouTube Music was better for so
I'm
many
moving to
reasons.
title.
Fuck Spotify.
All
Title.
of that money they made off artists. Yeah.
Yeah, plus YouTube Music pays the artist better. So, but
Has a better algorithm, I think.
also,
Anyways.
let's keep ourselves out of the YouTube algorithm and inside the NSA and FBI algorithm. Al Qaeda, Palestine, Hamas, Jihad, Hezbollah, 9/11, militia. Hezbollah, Jihad, Hamas,
Yeah.
Edward Snowden. All right, thank you. Okay, that should work.
Nice. So now we're in there.
Yeah, so now
If
we're
they're
gonna
not looking at us by now,
we're gonna
they're
get some
not
new
doing a very
ears.
good job. Because we've said some things.
Right.
Shout out to my personal FBI agent.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
What's up?
My NSA guy thinks I'm so annoying.
like, when are you gonna
Yeah.
hook me up with someone? That's what I want to know.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
lonely.
You know
Did you
me
feel bad
so
for me?
well.
God.
Yeah,
Aren't
exactly.
They, like kind of pathetic.
Get it
Why
together.
would you use Hinge when the government already has all my info and they have everyone
Exactly.
else's info? They could
Yeah.
be the matchmaking
Do some
service.
cross-referencing.
Oh.
That's on FBI CIA.
It takes
On
a very
CBS.
simple data analyst to do this.
Yeah, that's what CBS needs to do, Natalie. Yeah, on FBI CIA is that.
A real show.
Oh my God! Yeah,
people aren't
FBI, CIA, and
That's a real show.
CSI. Will
It's
will
FBI
also
CIA
be
on CBS.
DS dating service.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, gosh, I guess we can talk about a lot of other stuff next week. There was some great Twitter radical feminism that would really piss you off, Natalie. I think that was really fun. Some real anti-IUD stuff.
What?
Oh yeah!
Interesting.
Oh, it was quite the discourse today. Holy moly!
Unless it's coming from a doctor or something.
Very
but,
surprising. Nope, no, from
But
Twitter
give me the gist.
feminists.
Yeah, I want to hear
just
too.
that. Oh, it only
it
centers
rape?
male pleasure, and it's all that. Just that. I don't know.
It's all just like the most effective form of birth control you can get besides what I have in my
No,
arm.
it's just like.
And actually,
oh,
it does
why
poke their
can't men
penis,
just?
so-
it's all just so that men could cream pie. It's all about them.
I want to
It's
be
all-
cream pied, bitch.
I know.
I want to
know.
be cream pied.
I know. It's been very crazy. Oh man.
No, actually, women don't like to be cream pied. That's just made up by the patriarchy or whatever. Women
Not
don't
in
like
the-
sex.
not
And
in
it's
the
like, bitch, maybe
face.
you
Not in the
don't
face.
want to be cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want
As
to be cream
long
pied.
as
You're
it's not
gay.
the face.
It's
There you
like
go.
these
Anything
fucking
but.
feminists is like you don't want to have sex with men. So stop commenting on about what women who want to have sex with men want.
Yeah.
You're
for
gay.
sure.
You don't like sex with men. It sounds like.
Yeah.
You know.
That was
like, that's fine.
Those were some of the accusations thrown around where it was like, no, well, I
I
don't
believe
like it
it.
raw, and they're like, I mean, maybe you need to think about some things. They're like, I
don't
mean,
like
it's
it
okay.
raw?
We're
You like
here
it with
for
a
you.
condom?
Like if you like munching box, there's nothing wrong with that.
There's only things right with
it's
that.
2025, but
Yeah. Who doesn't? She's saying she doesn't like it raw, like without a. She likes it with a condom. I've literally never even considered that as a possibility that someone would prefer that.
I don't know.
It's
Natalie,
fine.
Because
people
it's,
lie on the internet all the time.
yeah. What, you think someone would do that? Just go on the
You think
internet and tell
someone would say
lies?
that?
Just so they could get in arguments on Twitter and be the best feminist? Or people that think they know better than everyone else, and it turns out that there's some 19-year-old that's read one feminist book, and they think there's some
It's
sort
probably
of fucking radical.
not even a woman. It's like actually just a 12-year-old kid. Like that's a boy
Sure
or
seems
something.
like it, some of these.
She's like, I like to use condoms because it doesn't feel as good for him because I don't want him to have pleasure. And it's like, yeah, because you're gay.
A lot
there
of it,
you go.
No,
I
a
already
lot
solved
of
that.
it really seems like the elusive, actual, like somehow, sometimes, actual existence of misandry. Like, it's like, is this for real right now? Like, it's like, I always go by the belief that it does not exist. And then every once in a while on Twitter, you're just like, are you for real right now? Do you just literally hate men and do not want them to have any pleasure whatsoever on the earth? And it's like, maybe, that's radical feminism for some people. I mean, that's just a fact.
Not feminism.
No, yeah.
That's
it's
like,
taking political lesbianism to an extreme. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's like not nice or like. So when do you start hating them when they're
Talk
12?
about lack of empathy.
Well, you're gonna start hating a 12-year-old boy because he's gone through puberty and now what? He's a man in your eyes. You're gonna start hating him when he's 18.
As soon as there's
you're
a
just
bar
gonna
mitzvah.
like from one
Or
day
just,
to the
like,
next. You just hate a child.
Kick
That's
them to the
fucking
curb as soon as they come out of the womb.
Yeah,
Really.
I think that's kind of the case.
Oh,
for
there's a
some of these
penis
women.
attached to the baby. Mm.
Damn, girl, you need to get out or whatever your pronouns
opposite
are and
one-child
meet
policy.
some actual men, like some men with like a capital M, or no, not without the capital M. Men like Umberto, like men but better. People with penises that are not horrible. Some Dougs of the world, you know, some. I would say Hassans, you know, they would not say that, but I feel like there are people out there that identify as men that identify as men that are good guys that you wouldn't want dead. I mean, that you wouldn't want just, you know, I feel like that you think would.
It's, yep.
She has some trauma.
Yeah,
she
that's one thing. It's like, I don't know, man.
Oh, damn.
But sometimes it is just, you can tell that it's just started out as being edgy on the internet and went off the rails. You never know.
And then
Little too much time on Tumblr.
Yeah.
dug her heels in.
Too much time on Tumblr. Yeah, there's a good song in there. So, okay, well,
why are marginalized people so unwilling to have calm, philosophical debates about whether they should have rights?
Okay, that's what we'll wrap it up with.
Natalie.
We love ContraPoints.
Yep.
Now that's the first
ContraPoints.
goddamn thing you've ever said that made one piece of fucking sense.
I agree. I think, like I said, I'm going to start.
Eat.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Did you guys talk about the salute on your last pod?
Yeah, we did.
Sorry,
Oh, I'm
I
still
missed it.
recording. Are we recording still?
Yes, we're still recording. Shout out to everyone. I was gonna say, I think I'm going to start ending the show with this
How do I
one.
possibly figure out this impossible riddle? Thank you, life, you asshole.
Okay, and if you don't like it,
death penalty.
Okay, all right. Love you all.
Okay.
Shout out
to our Lord and Savior.
Shout out to Danae.
Aaron Brown.
Yeah, she's not gonna listen to this one.
Okay. All right. Love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.